Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. I say that every morning. I'm reminding myself and you that it's a process. There's no super button to push where there's just peace, but there is peace there all the time, and it's just a matter of figuring out how I can let it reign in my heart, how I can get into that place of peace. And I've practiced it a lot the last 24 hours, and I have seen God work. It has been an amazing from yesterday to today, so many things have changed in my world. It's amazing what God will do when we just get out of the way and let Him work. And that's actually what we're going to talk about today. Yeah, I found this story. It's in 2 Corinthians 20. It's the story of Jehoshaphat. Now, I'm going to sum it up rather than read it to you, but it's in 2 Chronicles 20. And here's the thing. Jehoshaphat's sitting there, and all of a sudden, there were three nations that gathered together, the Moabites, let me see if I can find them, the Moabites, Mount Seir, and one other one. I don't remember what it was right the second. Ammon, the people of Ammon. Okay, so they all three joined forces together and are coming to get Jehoshaphat. They're coming into battle. They're going to dethrone him and take Judah and take their land and all of that. It actually says this in verse 3 that Jehoshaphat feared. He was afraid because these armies are coming, and three armies against one is not a fair fight, just in case. And you know what? The devil don't fight fair. Did you know that? Our enemy is always, we talked about that yesterday, he wants to trip us up, and he doesn't fight fair. And so it's not fair. It's not a fair fight. So Jehoshaphat's being unfriendly invited to this unfair battle, and there's not a chance he can win. And it's okay to, fear is not a sin. I'm going to say this again. Fear and faith are not mutually exclusive, right? We can be afraid and trust God at the same time. As a matter of fact, there's a psalm, I have to remember which one it is, but it says, what time I am afraid, I will trust in you. So when fear comes, we're going to have things we're afraid of. We're going to have troubling things that come at us. We're going to have stressful situations. We're going to have things that weigh on our heart. That's all part of life. You know, we're breathing, things are going to happen. But it doesn't mean we don't have faith. Because here's what it says. It says, Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to seek God. And as a matter of fact, he even proclaimed a fast. And that's not something we talk about these days, right? Who wants to talk about that, right? But it says he feared and he set himself to seek God. Now, here's what I liked about this what Jehoshaphat did. He came everybody from all the cities of Judah. He said, our help comes from the Lord. So let's just pound down the doors of heaven and cry out to God. And he began this prayer, this real David-like prayer. He starts out saying, when he got the whole assembly. It says Judah and Jerusalem all gathered at the house of God at the tabernacle, the temple, and he said, you are God. He started with declaring, you are God. You are the Lord of the kingdom. You rule over the kingdoms of the earth. This is a really powerful prayer if you take time to read it. It's really cool. And then he goes through and he goes, you brought your children out of Egypt. Now, David did this a lot. He reminded God of who he was. You're God of the earth. You're God of the nations. You're God of our hearts. You're God of my mind. You're God of my situation. He's like, you brought us from Egypt with a display of power, and we need you now again. And he goes on down and he says, God, do you see these three armies are coming against us, and we don't have the power to fight them. He says, but I know you will hear and save because we're crying out to you. He cried out to God with everything he had. And then he goes on down and he was so gut level honest, just like David. He says, this great multitude is coming against us. That's in verse 12. Verse 12. The great multitude is coming against us. We don't know what to do. What a totally cool moment that was. Jehoshaphat is the king, and he's looking at the King of Kings, and he's saying, we don't know what to do. I don't know how to fight them. I don't know how to prepare for this battle. We don't know what to do. I love that he was so gut level honest and just poured it out there before God, going, I got nothing, God. I got nothing. It's okay to be in that spot, and it's okay to tell God that. right? I don't know what to do. But here's the next phrase. He said, we don't know what to do. I don't got this. I'm out of control. I'm afraid. I don't know how to protect my people. I'm the king, but I need the king, right? I need some help here, God. He said, I don't know what to do, but our eyes are on you. He said, I'm in a situation, I'm being pressed on every side. 3 armies are coming against my poor little guys here, and I don't know what to do. I don't even know how to prepare for this. I don't know how to work myself up mentally for this. I'm scared, but I'm going to look to you, God, for help. And you know what happened? This is the coolest thing. God spoke through a prophet and said, you go position yourself and watch what I'm going to do. So his army showed up for the battle. They showed up, 3 armies coming at him, and they showed up anyway. Scared, not knowing what to do, trusting God. It's kind of my everyday life. Scared, not knowing what to do, but just trusting God no matter what. Isn't that the place we live right now? There's a lot of things going on in our world. There's a lot of things going on in our personal lives. There's a lot of things going on in our nation. And quite frankly, it's scary, right? And we can be afraid. We can not know what to do. But we just stop where we are and say, God, I'm looking at you. God, I'm trusting you. God, I'm reminding myself that you are my help. And guess what happened with Jehoshaphat? Because we'll see this happen. I've seen this happen in 24 hours in my life. I really have. Y'all just have to call me if you want to know the story. It's amazing, though. That's right. So here's what happened. They positioned themselves to trust God for something they could not handle. They knew they didn't have the power to do that, but they positioned themselves to trust God, to wait on God, because God said, just be quiet, sit still, and watch. And that's what they did. And you know what? The 3 armies come down, and 2 of them ganged up on one and wiped them out. And then these 2 got all confused and got mad and started fighting, and they wiped themselves out. So basically, Jehoshaphat's army sat there and watched the 3 armies coming at them kill themselves. That's awesome. That's the best battle. Nope, they didn't have to shed any blood. They didn't even pick up a sword. They didn't throw a stone. They didn't shoot an arrow. And the 3 armies were so confused, they fought amongst themselves and wiped themselves out. And Jehoshaphat's just going, well, let's go get the spoils. And so they went down to the carnage in the valley below, right? And they literally, it took them, I think it said 3 days. It said that it took them 3 days to gather the spoil. There was so much gold, there was so many weapons, there was so many these these 3 dead armies. It took them 3 days to gather the spoil. They said they had so much they couldn't even carry it back. And they didn't even fight the battle. They watched God work. I am committed to watching God work in my life. Now, that doesn't mean I don't fear. Jehoshaphat feared. It doesn't mean I always know what to do. Jehoshaphat didn't know what to do. But he looked to God. And that is the key to learning how to peace out. Keeping our eyes on God, keeping what he said, his word in front of our hearts and our minds, meditating on it, studying it, and walking out this life, looking at him. And that's why we can peace out, right? Because we can trust him whether we're afraid, whether we have... God did not give Jehoshaphat a step-by-step plan. He didn't say, okay, here's the formula to win this battle. No, he said, be still and watch me. Isn't that what we learn in Psalm 46? Be still and know I am God. When we do that, we can walk in his peace because he's got us. He's got our backs. Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you bright and early Monday morning.